Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I just want to talk to you all a little bit about how obedience is so necessary in your walk with God. Obedience is so important as believers of Christ because the Bible literally says that God blesses obedience. And if we're not obedient, we're not going to see the full manifestation of God's blessings over our life. And I'm not saying that you should be obedient to God because of what he can do for you, but don't expect to see God's full power when you're not even willing to be obedient to what he's calling of you to do. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you need to be obedient to what God is telling you to do, no matter how hard it is, no matter how much it doesn't make sense, no matter how much you don't understand it. Obedience is better than sacrifice. God blesses our obedience, as it says in the Bible. Like, you guys, I would not be sitting here in an answered prayer if I hadn't been obedient to God. I was just reflecting on the fact that a few years ago, I was sitting in this very place praying for the things that I am now living in. I'm literally sitting in an answered prayer, and it took years to get here. It wasn't an overnight thing that just happened. I didn't just get handed all of these blessings that I have. It took years of being obedient. It took years of praying. It took years of truly following the Lord and trusting that this was going to come to pass. And so I don't want to brag or boast, or I don't say any of this to flex or anything, but the Lord has literally blessed me in all areas of my life. A few years ago, I was praying for marriage. I was praying to have a business. I was praying to have a car. I was praying for financial stability. I was praying for a place to live because I was staying with my parents. And when I tell you, God has exceeded every single thing that I prayed for in ways that I couldn't even imagine. Ephesians 3:20, God will give you more than you can even ask, think, or imagine. God literally did that for me. I'm sitting here in the very place just reflecting on all that God has done in my life. I'm now married. I have a beautiful family. I have a house that God has blessed me with. I have a very successful business, and I'm seeing the fruits of his spirit over my life. I have been fully delivered from addictions, from idols, from strongholds, from anything that wasn't from God, trauma from toxic relationships, domestic violence relationships, new age spirituality, sexual immorality. Literally, I am living in the promised land. And the promised land isn't just about finances, but God has blessed me obviously in all areas of my life. God has also blessed me spiritually. God has blessed me with overcoming toxic addictions, generational curses. God has helped me, renew my mind. God has helped me let go of old ways of thinking. I used to live in the world. I had a whole different mindset. And God has truly renewed my entire mind of how I think, how I live, how I speak, how I talk, how I walk. God has literally down to the littlest things, God has totally transformed me. And this was only because I was obedient. I would not see God's hand over my life the way that I do today if it wasn't for my obedience. God wouldn't have enlarged my platforms the way that he has today. I have over 3 million people who are following or subscribed to me collectively on all of my platforms. And it's insane to say that 3 million people have been impacted in some way enough to follow or subscribe to, these platforms that God has entrusted me with. And I look at all of this and I don't sit here and boast about, I did this, this is why I have this. No. This was all by the hand of God. I cannot take credit as much as I probably would like to. Yeah, I did this. This is how I got this. This is how I did. No, God is literally in control. It's starting to rain now, so I'm going to wrap up this word. It can't be too quick. You guys, it's literally pouring. But I cannot take credit for what God has done in my life. You guys, this was all God. This isn't luck. I know a lot of people who might look from the outside in, from a worldly perspective, and say, girl, you're so lucky. You have everything. You're living the American dream. You're living a blessed life. And I'm not lucky. I'm blessed. This is God's hand over me. Okay, it's literally pouring, you guys. I'm going to have to wrap this up. I'm going to finish this word because the devil's a liar. No, you guys, I absolutely did not do a thing. I cannot take credit for the size of following that God has blessed me with. I cannot take credit for the finances that God has blessed me with. I can't take credit for the marriage that God has blessed me with. I can't take credit for the car God blessed me with. I can't take credit for my house God blessed me with. Literally, all of this was because of the grace of God. And I do not say this to boast. I say this to say, do not give up when things get hard in your walk with God, because it's not going to be easy. Do not quit. it's so much easier for you to turn back to your old life and go backwards because you don't see God's, hand, his blessings instantly. But obedience is what is going to lead to blessings. Okay, if you want to see the blessings of God, you have to be obedient. If God is telling you to let go of something, let it go. If God is telling you to move somewhere, move. If God is telling you to stop cursing, stop cursing. Even if it's little to you, these are things that are going to impact how God moves in your life. If God sees that you're willing to fast for something that you're praying for, if God sees that you're willing to put in the work, okay, you have to be willing to be obedient to whatever he requires of you. Sometimes obedience is things that we don't want to do, whether it's facing a fear, whether it's letting go of something that you love doing, whether it's removing yourself from a position of, leadership. Let's say that you have a great position, you've been promoted, you have a career, and God is telling you, I want you to leave this all behind. And you're like, but God, this is how I support myself. Trust God and be obedient, because there are blessings for obedience, my friends. Okay, I don't want my mic to get too wet, but you guys, obedience is better than sacrifice. I'm literally get rained on, but I'm not going to stop because the devil is a liar. We're going to wrap this word up, but I just want to tell you guys, God is so good, and I'm literally sitting in an answered prayer all by the grace of God. So continue to trust God, continue to be obedient, because God loves our obedience. He loves people who are willing to not compromise with their flesh and say no to the things that they want and their desires. But anyways, I just wanted to testify to you guys real quick. And I promise you, for those who are sitting in the wilderness right now, if you're in your wilderness season, you're in your waiting season, and you're like, God, I want to see the promised land, continue to pray, wait, fast, continue to be obedient, and you will see God's hand over your life. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.